Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show, Elite Eight, Division H. We're breaking it down. I'm Ed. That's Justin. That's Brad. And Brad's going to kick us off with draft pick 1 and 2 and break those teams down.
Yep. Pick 1 in this division was Will 500K. And he went older with QB, sticking with Tom Brady, Cousins, and Mitch Trubisky. So it looks like he's going for kind of a win now team, actually. He has the best running back room I've seen out of the teams I've covered so far, with Najee, Barkley, Connor, Miles Sanders, Brees Hall, Pacheco. So he's definitely set up at running back for the next couple years at least. His receivers, he went older with Devontae, Mike Evans, Brandon Cooks, Kadarius Toney, which means he kind of seems like he's making a little push with top 15 receivers this year. His tight ends, he kind of faded a little bit, went with Hunter Henry and Gerald Everett, with guys like Harrison Bryant and Foster Moreau to back him up. So I feel like he'll probably have to make a move to get deep in the playoffs with a tight end. The second pick was Zeke, and he went a different route. He started out with Herbert as his QB, so he definitely wanted to build around a QB type. And then he went with Ryan and Goff to back him up. So at least he'll be set up with QBs for this year. His running backs, he went older. He went Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Alvin Kamara, Damian Harris, guys like that. So he definitely went for the older studs of the league. Receivers, he went younger with Deontay Johnson, Devonta Smith, Hunter Renfrow, Allen Lazard. Looks like he faded that a little bit, but he's got guys like Galladay, Marquez Valdes-Scantling on the bench. So he's got some room to decide what he wants to do. I think he'll be pretty competitive, though, honestly.
At pick 3, Cowboys and Utes. And this team, I'm chuckling because as we've gone through a lot of the divisions, this team seems to mirror the other 3 seeds that I work on as well. And so it has a quarterback room of Mahomes, Winston, and Daniel Jones at quarterback. And so that's 3 that should be able to all have different bye weeks and sub in there throughout the course of the year and provide pretty good points unless injuries begin to occur. But I do think it's a pretty good start with those 3 quarterbacks. At running back, Aaron Jones, Zeke, James Robinson, and Sony do give me a little bit of concern, but I do think it's, if you're trying to piece together 2, you have a reasonable shot there at getting points each week. When I look at the receiver room, I do see a really solid room of Lamb, Cooper, Hollywood, Mooney, and Olave. So there is, some room there to, pick up points from the running backs, at the top 2 if something happens. The tight end room is even better, though, with 4 starters. It's got Kittle, Hawkinson, Higbee, and Ingram. So there you can use some of those for the flex with 3-point PPR. I really think this team will be in it at the end and has a reasonable shot to figure on a 1 or 2 seed, but definitely a playoff team in this division. Cheeky Hobson picked in the 4 spot and started his team with Kyler Murray and Davis Mills at quarterback, but Malik Willis is the only quarterback on the roster behind. And so as we film this today, Ryan Tannehill's the starter. So unless, something happens there, there's some zeros in the future at quarterback when those other guys will be putting up, 40 spots on their weeks that they're playing. So it's going to be an awful lot of points that they miss when those 2 bye weeks happen without injuries. The running back room of Dalvin Cook and Cam Akers is really solid, along with A.J. Brown, Godwin, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rondell, and Treylon Burks. I mean, that's a solid young receiving core and running back room, that's solid. Tight end room of Komet and Fant are also solid. Here's the problem, though. Bye weeks will come, injuries will happen, and so this team will be a lottery team and be picking in the bottom 6. And so, it's just going to have to be patient because I do think the nucleus of the team is young and it's fluid. So even when those injuries do happen, it has a chance to really compete downstream a little bit in future years. Justin's going to break down picks 5 and 6.
Yeah, pick followers. At first glance, this team looks to be okay. But with only 2 tight ends and Hayden Hurst and Dawson Knox, they have some work to do. But they have pretty good depth at wide receivers, so hopefully they can try to make a trade with one of these wide receivers to pick up a tight end in the looks of Waddle, T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. I'm sorry, not Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson as their starters, but KJ Osborne, Nick Westbrook, Khan, or Nick Collins might do the trick to be able to help him pick up a backup tight end. With Burrow, Russell Wilson, and Baker Mayfield as their 3 starting quarterbacks. Okay, but not great at wide receiver with Elijah Mitchell, AJ Green, Rashard Penny, Khalil Herbert, and Rashard White to help round that running back class, running back room out there. At pick 6, Mahomes has a great quarterback depth with drafting 7 quarterbacks, 4 in which are starters, and Lamar Jackson, David Carr, Matt Jones, and Kenny Pickett soon, hopefully looking to move in there and take over a starting role in Pittsburgh. With an okay depth at running back, Swift, CH, Melvin Gordon, Mike Davis, Raheem Mostert. The last 4 of those guys are aging out very soon, and they're going to have to try to bring in some younger running backs to help fill that room there with a wide receiver core that might get the job done, and Keenan Allen, Garrett Wilson, Rob Woods, Jarvis Landry on the bench, Christian Watson in the taxi squad. Good depth there. Good depth at tight end also with Goddard, David Njoku, Mo Alley Cox, Kyle Rudolph. Could be a competitive team, but won't have enough to get the job done to make it to dance.
Pick 7, Mystical Child. This team has Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and currently starters Flacco and Geno. However, here's the problem. Rodgers has a bye week in week 14, so Flacco and Geno might be afterthoughts by that time. And so there's going to be points to make up in week 14, which is that playoff bubble week that they're going to be taking some negatives on without making a move. The running backs are Cordell Patterson and Singletary. So really young, Singletary being young there, but kind of not sure where those pieces are going to really fit. Now they do have the rookies Pierce and Algier. So depending on how they come into play this year, it's possible that those 2 pieces can propel it to the future, and they can build around that. The receiver group is real solid with Pittman, Sutton, Ayuk, Juju, and Kirk. The tight end room of Schultz and Andrews is top notch. I mean, that's two top 7 tight ends in a 12-man league, so that's really solid there. I do think that this team is on the fringe of a top 6 team, but I think it does need to make some moves to kind of solidify that week 14 to really make the push that it needs to be a top 2 team, or to get its way into making some money. So it's kind of what I would call a fringe team in that 4 to 8 seed, where it could go either way depending on how the injury bug bites. Hem Railston picked out of the 8th spot, and this team has Stafford, but it has no second quarterback on the roster. And so to make up the 35 points that quarterbacks get each week, it really needs to make a blockbuster. to just stay competitive. But here's the problem. The team starts and features Jonathan Taylor. So the shelf life on Taylor is what, 4 more years. So they have to make a move within the next 4 years to not waste the Jonathan Taylor talent. And Stafford, is going to be on the downside as well. So there's like this shelf life thing that the team has to create this second quarterback and third quarterback in the next couple of years. But you have aging assets. It's going to be challenging to get good value moving those pieces around. The receiver room is solid but old. It's got Cooper Kupp, Thielen, and Lockett anchoring it. And so, again, those guys, the shelf life, if we're looking 3 years and out, 3 years from now, it's hard to know what those pieces can give and what they can even return in value now. Tight end room is top notch, Waller and Kelsey. But again, they're the age 29 and 33 assets in the tight end room. And so it's really a struggle to, with one quarterback, it's a built for now winning team. However, it has one quarterback, so it takes a 35-point deficit every time out, every week. And it's just like punting 35 points or giving a 35-point edge to the opponent just out of the gate. And it's just going to be challenging to navigate that without injuries. And so it'll be interesting to see how this team really navigates over the course of the next decade, let's say, and see if it can, kind of create out of those good assets. But it's a matter of how to flip them and trade them and turn them into younger assets. So it'll be interesting to watch that team in process and how it does fares in this division. Brad's going to break down teams 9 and 10.
Pick 9 was Ito Masick. He took a different approach than that last team there. He decided to build a young dynasty team through the draft, basically. He went with Fields and Tua as his quarterbacks with Mariota to back him up. So I feel like he's definitely building for just a team that's trying to make some moves in the next couple years. His running backs, he went with Javonte and J.K. Dobbins, Ramondre. His receivers were also just as young, going with Jefferson, Bateman, Drake London, Sky Moore. Got George Pickens on the bench. His tight ends, he are a little bit shallow, but he's got Irv Smith, Tyler Conklin. He's got some young guys there. He's got Kylan Granson on the taxi. I feel like he'll probably be a mid-pack team this year, but he's definitely setting himself up to make some moves in the near future. Pick 10 was Hipster Killers, and he took a little bit different route. He went a little bit older, faded quarterback a little bit. He decided to go with Wentz and Wilson as his only 2 QBs, which could cause some problems down the road in a little bit, especially with the team he has. His running backs, he went with McCaffrey and Gibson and Carter. And obviously Gibson's a question mark when Brian Robinson comes back, so he might need to make some moves there as well to be real competitive. His receivers are pretty good, though. He went with Jamar, Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Michael Thomas, Elijah Moore. He's got Curtis Samuel on the bench, Sammy Watkins. He definitely set himself up to go heavy on receiver in this draft, which I think will pay off. But at the same time, their shelf life probably isn't going to be too much longer, so he'll probably have to decide to go into rebuild if he doesn't win this year.
Justin's going to share teams 11 and team 12.
Team 11, the Riverbed, has a pretty solid team to start off with, and quarterbacks Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Ryan Tannehill, running backs Chubb, Chase Edmonds, Kareem Hunt, Henderson, and Kenneth Walker. The wide receiver Mike Williams, DK Metcalf, Wandale Robinson, AJ Green, Michael Gallup, with Jameis Winston on our waiting to get healthy and come back. A pretty good tight end group here with Kyle Pitts, Austin Hooper, Johnny Smith, and the young rookie Trey McBride. He doesn't have a 23 first round pick, so it should be kind of interesting to see what he can do this year. W. Norton with the 12th pick has a pretty good starting lineup, but not much after that to be desired. With one injury away, he'll definitely really be hurting there. Two starting running backs and Lance and Hurts, three starting running backs and Mixon, Fournette, Etienne, with someone else's handcuff and Tony Pollard, with the wide receivers of Terry Macklin, Gabe Davis, Chase Claypool, Jalen Tolbert, and Josh Palmer on his bench. Tight ends are a little better overall, and Mike Gesicki, Albert O, Darnold Parham, and Isaiah Likely. It does have all his rookie picks, so he should be able to rebuild in the rookie draft here next year. I think your mute button was on.